Back with another edition of Live on Sunday. It is your gracious host, Big Nose, Big Mouth, Loud Manny, Big Body, Wick Ross, King, Prouder, man. Oh, man, what a week. What a week, man. I hope y'all 2024 has been as solid as mine has been. It's been active already, but I can say for the most part, it's been a blessing to see another year. Remember, Sundays is your first day of the week. It's where you retool, you reset, you refocus. Sundays is supposed to be the day where you look and analyze how your week is supposed to be. It's time where you can refocus. That's why I prefer to talk to y'all on Sundays. Man, about this week, we got to start off before we go into the big headline news, which we know is important. I want to chop it up by thanking y'all for coming to the channel. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Anything that you give to your boy, let me know, will be impactful. Is all I request. Man, so for me, let me give y'all some great news about your boy. Retool and refocus everything that we always talk about. I got a edited adventure coming up where it's actually a thing in Houston when they have a place where you can actually get things read. So that's my next phase I got coming up in the next few weeks. First Toastmasters event will be this Wednesday. If you've not joined Toastmasters, or if you've never heard anything that helps you learn how to speak and write publicly, I highly recommend you do something like that because it'll impact you in multiple ways, not just professionally, personally. Count your words that you speak, allow your ears to be more listening for different comments and different sayings. The next thing we had to do, man, if you did not know, if you went from Houston or you in the city of Houston, man, let me start off by saying this. Most black men have no outlet. Most of us have nobody that we can get to in a group or collectively. Post high school, post college, post whatever, many brothers do not get together outside of clubbing, thugging, or having fun. What we have done in Houston, Texas, man, is we've formed an alliance. The alliance means that black men actually have an outlet where we get together. Not just business, which is important, but where you can just be. You need your own village, gentlemen. And I'll tell you right now, we have been doing it for almost a year consecutively, right? But we are getting that momentum to keep it growing right now. What am I talking about? Instagram and the Meetup app, we have something called the Black Male Meetup. Man, this is our first event that we did this previously Saturday. I did not know, man, God forbid that it happened at the venue where sadly Takeoff was tragically gunned down at. But what we do, y'all, is we allow brothers to have a safe, free space. Brothers can come in here, be yourself, network, build, and establish a relationship with like-minded brothers, attorneys, doctors, principals, and men, wealth management, psychologists. You'll be surprised at how many black brothers, truck drivers, entrepreneurs are in like-minded circles. What do we do when we get together? Gentlemen, all we are doing is just being. Let me say it again. All we are doing is just being ourselves, being black men in America, trying to figure this thing out called life. Some of us are married. Some of us are single. Some of us like to do extracurricular. Some of us don't. I don't care about that. The one biggest thing I care about the most is that we don't talk about how we do not get together or establish each other. I want you to just ask yourself for a second, outside of everything else, the journey you might have did in your life, in your adulthood right now, tell me anything where you see black brothers getting together and just connecting with each other. You don't. The great Malcolm X has a famous quote that I love. We are not outnumbered. We are out-organized. We are out-organized with our thought leaders, our providers in the community, our families, our programs, and our strategies. Other people go to golf, have multiple things going on. Will you network and build before the business? This is another side of it. If you are in Houston, I want to spark this fire nationwide. Since the Black Panther Party, there has been nothing else around like this, but I think it's needed. Brothers, you need an outlet. You need a safe space where you can just be yourself, where you can just talk, where you can just be. I think all of that is incredibly important. Black Man Meetup on Instagram, on different social. We got multiple ways to communicate. Now that I got that out the way, y'all, if you've been living under a rock, I know you ain't heard about what's been going on. Katt Williams scorched the earth, didn't he? If you ain't seen what the brother Katt did, he was on the brother Shay Sharp podcast, Club Shay Shay. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. a Southern brother himself. Dynamic interview. No matter what you said, interviews are supposed to be a place where you can vent and get stuff off your chest. What I like that Shannon Sharpe does, he let the big people talk. A lot of times when they have interviews, it's much more of a refined session. But what actuality would people like to see? We like to see your personality in real time. We like to see your thought process, your mental processing, your origin story, and what gets you going. I think Shannon Sharpe has that because, number one, he has Southern values. He's relatable, and he's willing to listen. Listening skills in today's society at an all-time low. So if you have above average listening skills where you can weigh and follow up with people, you will become popular. So what we know that we established early on is that I want to catch a few words before I go into the topic heavily. What Katt Williams talked about. There is a new culture that is going to be described, right? The new culture being that the art of manifestation, relatable collective energy, let's say our facts, the way we socialize, how we mainly achieve things, our institution, our nation, our people, and our social groups. It's a new culture going around, started strongly early part of this year. What is the new culture, you may ask? People don't like being lied to. People don't. People don't like hearing information that is inaccurate, that doesn't make sense, and that it must be questioned. So, Katt Williams hit on a lot of phenomenal points in that interview with Shannon Sharpe. But the one thing I want to keep emphasizing is that we are really getting to the truth era. People are tired of being lied to. Right now, all services across all places in this country are all-time low. Services, money, the way you treat people, the way you relationship. So many things that we do are really bad right now. So if you refine your foundations in the future on, you're going to win, because so many people have taken what our older generations valued the most and they soiled it. So Katt Williams spoke about it in an entertainment way, how the most talented is not really being the face of things, how people who are willing to compromise and do bad things are getting a leg up. He mentioned multiple times from his point of view how he saw how he is not as celebrated as some other comics are. And if you are in America, right, you know multiple stories like this. We all know stories of people that are not getting their flowers or being celebrated like they should be. I can name 5 or 6 off the top of my head. But what I think that was so impactful that Katt broke down was that, hey, we see these things in real times and we don't really know how to question it. What we do is that we go along with it to save face, right? To be apolitical, to have a conversation, but a lot of the time it's to be safe. It's not to have an open-ended question, and it's not to questioning things. So what I want to do from the beginning right now is I want to dive into what Katt was breaking down the conversation of Ricky Smiley. And the reason why I think this is important is because, remember, y'all, there's always 3 sides to the truth. It's your side, it's my side, then the truth is in the middle. No matter if you hate it or love it, you got to be able to pay back what the thoughts are, right? So let's dive into it and let's see what Katt broke down about Ricky Smiley, going back to that original point about the interview he had on Friday after next. I'm trying to play it right now, y'all. It's acting up. Hold on. All right, here you go. If you ever click TikTok and share the video, y'all, it doesn't strike you or copyright you if you watch a little bit of it and you let it play in its totality like other platforms will. That's the reason I'm trying to play it on TikTok.
The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole.
Hold on. Excuse me, y'all. I know this thing acting a little janky tonight. Forgive me. Man, oh man. Ricky Smiley point is the one I'm trying to hit to. I'm trying to hit that Ricky Smiley interview.
You let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in. I wish all of America fumbled a bit when that happened. And then he said some stuff that we haven't heard in 100 years in Hollywood. You ain't say nothing. This man told you he had Katt Williams' role. He was gonna be Money Mike, and Katt Williams was gonna be the Santa. The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom.
I want to pause it right here, y'all. I think it's something very impactful, even though the video keeps skipping. Whenever somebody's telling you a part of a story and they go into extreme detail, they're telling the truth. You can't fake the details or the minute information. The lies usually come into when you're not honest about a certain subject. If you can remember the day, the functions, when it happened, little small minute details, they're telling the truth most of the time, because the truth is easy to remember. The lies is what gets uncomfortable. The lies about when this happened, how did it happen, who was you with, what situation did it occur, that's when it gets choppy. When somebody talks about the truth, y'all, I want you to always remember that. Ask them details to make them follow up. Ask them details to make them explain their thoughts and their points of view. Because when you have to explain it,
you let Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in.
Chopping it up, y'all, but I'm getting through it. Lord.
Kevin told you he wasn't going to wear no dress.
But what he said to Katt, the first interview, I want you to catch it. I'm trying to get to where it plays that Ricky Smiley point. When he's talking about the Ricky Smiley point, I want you to know, if you do not know the show,
Ricky Smiley sit here and you said out that mouth, you stole Friday After Next, the one I was in. I wish all of America, because he had a Christian fan base. He was gonna play the pimp. Why you didn't ask him why has he played a woman in more movies than he's played a man?
Well, I didn't know
he shouldn't be able. You wouldn't let an athlete that been on steroids talk about one of the greats. Ricky Smiley can't act because Ricky Smiley can't act. He told you the story about when the movie came out. Where did he say he watched it? At home. He wasn't even at the premiere. You telling this man you stole that. Oh, so he could get his name in the same sentence with a great one. It is sad. He was just that bitter when we were shooting it.
I want to pause it right there because I want to point something out that Katt said it was phenomenal, y'all, that most people may forget. When you have resentment for an individual or resentment of a situation or what may happen, you can't fake it and hide it. So if we've had a situation, right, and the situation we had, you never got over it or we never talked about it in detail, until we have that conversation, that uncomfortableness will be there. That uncomfortableness, no matter what happened, no matter if I've gotten over it or we've talked about it, if it has never been a closure at that time, it's going to be there, bro. So as he's breaking down in the word of truth is that when you have a conflict with somebody, if you avoid it, it's going to stop. It's not going to go anywhere. The first word in conflict resolution is that you must battle out. That's relationship, that's friendship, that's life, that's love. No matter what it is, you got to fuss and talk about it. Kicking it down the street, not talking about it, not bringing up bad energy, as some people like to say. All it is meaning is that we're not going to talk about our problems. A lot of the times, I'm not just going to throw black people under the bus. In America, we have a culture of not talking about bad things. History, slavery, crimes, racism. We don't like to talk about bad things. If it's uncomfortable, we don't discuss. If it makes one person feel aggrieved, we don't discuss. If anything that makes another person acknowledge what they did wrong, we don't discuss. This imagery that Katt Williams is going in is so powerful because even though this movie was made 20 plus years ago, it's iconic, right? Next Friday is iconic. If you've never seen it, I advise you to watch it. When he mentioned that the resentment came up because a brother did not qualify for something, it was never discussed. We publicly have never heard Katt say anything about this story. But if you watch the notes, do the research, do the information, we see other comics and of his peers speaking about this. And as you saw in the previous interview, Ricky Smiley did say all this to Shannon Sharpe, who was a non-party party, right? But what he did not equate for was, it's his side, it's the other side, that it's the truth. So the truth is, more was said and more was happening than it was given. And what Katt is doing is knocking down that border saying, hey, man, this is your fan base. This is what you can do. This is why you qualify for. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. That's why it's coming in so rambunctious and harsh. To me, the truth has no feelings. I know everybody doesn't follow that philosophy, but I think that comes from having a harsh father that was very direct with us, a harsh mama that was very direct with us. What I didn't understand at the time, but I appreciate, is that transparency must be said. Transparency can be uncomfortable. Transparency can be harsh, but transparency means love. So in my opinion, as I interpret this, I do get Katt's enthusiasm is a little bit high, but what I'm perceiving from this is that Katt's body languages, his details, his vernacular, his sayings, all 100% true. So no matter what you think about the situation, how he said it, what languages, what was this, the brother's keeping it 1,000. 1,000% honest, no sugarcoat, no chasing shot, no none of that. I'm going to keep going.
He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was.
Sir, no one. Why no? He was with KD. He beat up Terry Crews. Why nobody know this story? You talking about in Hollywood, they switched off roles. You take this and he, what?
Let me pause it right there again before I shut up the scene. When something is not meant for you, ladies and gentlemen, please don't harp on it. As we heard Katt say something, I see it so much in life. If you didn't make that choice to move away, if you didn't make that choice to lose that weight, if you didn't make that choice to do whatever it was in your lifetime, you can't get mad at nobody else that did. I'm from a smaller town, and I have had to move away since I was very young, 18. I made a way so I can move away to be where I was in my life. You cannot be mad at people that have made different decisions from you. Now, I am nowhere near as successful as Katt Williams. That brother is iconic status. God willing, I could be more successful in my own right one day. I would never put myself on that same level. But even at my level that I'm at, that has done well, went to school, did things, got married, no matter what level I'm on, I can definitely see how that resentment plays a part with people. If you did not put in the work, if you did not study, if you did not work hard, if you did not sacrifice, if you did not put yourself in an uncomfortable position, you cannot then go back and get mad that somebody else did. And what Katt is speaking about is that role, is that the steps he took to get to where he was. The role and the steps that he took to build him up to who he is as Katt Williams was a phenomenal thing. And no matter if you like him, dislike him, hate his guts, you can't do nothing but respect the work ethic. The work ethic is synonymous to what he is and what he has done. And his body of work is held true. We all know Katt specials. If you have not seen how much of a comedic genius he has been, go back and check his records. He in Houston every year doing those tours. I got to give him credit. This year, I'm going. Going to see Katt Williams live is definitely on my list. And that's just basically off what he did, how he established himself, and what he has worked on next. The next thing I want to talk about, man, is that I get pushed back on this subject with Steve Harvey, man. From a man's perspective, Steve Harvey has done a lot of lying this past recent years. The book, How to Think, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, his lifestyle, what he said he was doing. Steve Harvey has been looked at almost along that Derrick Jackson level. Steve Harvey is a financial boss. I will never disagree with that. But manhood, leading your family, how you live in your life, as a brother, you got to look at Steve Harvey with a side eye. I don't care what nobody say. You got to look at him with a side eye. Because Steve been talking crazy, just giving guys crazy relationship advice, telling them what they should be dealing with, telling brothers how they should be settling. He is so far out of touch. That generation of black men, elders, some of them, not all of them, because there are some good elderly men that are good, but that simp, you do whatever it is for a woman generation, they need to go ahead. And I think Steve Harvey is the king of that. I don't want to degrade his wife and what he had going on, but his legacy and what he tries to give advice to don't match up. So I think that even Katt putting a cap on the business angle on how Steve Harvey is speaks a lot to it. Because as a brother, like I said, organization dealing with
the same
all the time,
Steve that went to go watch
dealing with organizations all the time. Steve Harvey ain't got no respect out here, y'all. I have not met a man that said they admire Steve Harvey. I have not met a man that feels like Steve Harvey, outside of business's money, should be listened to. Manhood, direction, what it looks like to be a this and their pillar in their life. They don't look at Steve that way. Steve and Shaq are viewed the same. Rich, affluent guys would do goofy stuff. I hate to say it. Black men will tell you transparently where you align. Being idolized like a Malcolm X and other generations of men beforehand, they're not that way. Their celebrity status leads them in a different direction, a different angle. Are they admirized as, let's say, some of our other leaders and thought providers? They're not. I'll even give Shannon Sharpe his credit. Shannon Sharpe is more admirized than a lot of other people because he keeps it real. He's genuinely him, and he does not lie to you. Being transparent and honest in man matters. Let's listen to Katt.
Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business. And it's a
pause right there. Steve Harvey's lineup was legendary amongst all black men. That is 1,000% fact. I used to wonder how it was so crisp and fresh every day. So to hear that Katt say that it was a lineup or a weave, it's crazy. That tells me as a man, all I need to know about you, bro. But to hear Katt say that in real time, no matter how you feel, what you think, it's eye-opening. Good, bad, and different or ugly. To hear that he actually had that says a lot.
fan unit. Then you ask it, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good, baby, and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You would have to have a range. I played a lot of characters, 60 movie roles. I'm not playing Katt Williams in there.
All right, Katt went ruthless records right there. I wouldn't expect him to go, you big Katt, you big, I got big dough. He went Ofo Gucci on that joint. You know the one, I don't know if you know that one song or it's not a diss record, it's the truth. That's how Katt went right there. He went diss record. Hey, funny at the same time because it was a lot of facts in there. Who don't want to have aspirations to do better and get more money? Who don't have a way that they want to be iconic? And can we address something right quick? Bernie Mac was that dude, bro. Love, hate, dislike the brother. Bernie Mac was that dude. If you ever watch King's Economy again, remember, learn your history. He was literally head and shoulders above all of them. And it was weird that Bernie Mac was not closing the show. Why was Steve Harvey closing the show and he wasn't the funniest guy? Am I the only one that thought even as a child that was weird? And now Katt is shedding light on these moments that we remember, and now we understand. It had to be some hate. If it was my show or my venue and the brother before me was lighting it up, how can you not have a little animosity? As a man, you got to be honest about it. But as a man, once you are honest enough to say, bro, I did not realize you was going to be this good, you really killing it, you'll move along and you'll move ahead. But acting like you not, that is when the issues come about. That is when the situations turn to, man, you fronting, man, that animosity is there. What Katt's saying is 1,000% facts, and I agree with him. Let's keep going.
I don't know, Katt. We might not let you drink anymore the way you. I mean, we ain't even got.
I'm not fueled by alcohol. I've had a sip, less than you. The truth don't need motivation. I'm just saying I can't let these dudes lie. This is like Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. That's my story. That's not his story. Steve Harvey was never homeless. When Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago, he was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week. They just tell the stories. Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that?
Man, Katt is on fire. As a brother, again, Steve Harvey's story makes you look at him with a side eye. Knowing how Steve said all these about his multiple wives, and now knowing about his wife being a trap queen. If you don't know, I'm not quoting that lady Tasha K, but she had the old husband interview on there doing 30 years in the feds because she was trapping with him. Then he was with the bodyguard. Then she got with Steve. And man, look, it's a lot going on that Katt said was 1,000. And if it walked like a duck and talked like a duck, it ain't no damn mongoose. You hear me? It ain't no mongoose. You ain't gonna sit right here and tell me it's one. What he's saying got some validity to it. What he's saying is facts. I don't care what you think, what you saying. I know we have some pro Steve Harvey people, but I'm gonna maintain it for the brother. Steve been lying out here. He been lying about his lifestyle, his wife, what he meant. I'm not saying he don't love that woman. I would never disrespect her. That's his wife. But we also got to say, you have been married multiple times, bro. They killed Kevin Samuels. Only want to mention his name because, he made people sparse up for saying that he was divorced and Steve Harvey has been divorced the same amount of times. With a wife, with extra kids, and he championing other people's kids more than his own kids. Seeing this side of professionally of Steve Harvey as Katt is shedding light on you, how can you not hear this part of the truth and not look at it from a different point of view? I like to tell people all the time, and I had this conversation with the brothers we was out with last night. You can ask me any question. I prefer people that think, ask questions, and ask logical responses. I don't have to like what you're saying to me, but what I have to do is respect that you're talking wisely to me. Let me say it again. I don't have to like the messenger, what you're saying, but I'm going to respect your intellect, especially if it makes sense to me. And Katt right now is showing that his intellect and what he is saying is a masterclass. And like I said, watching Steve Harvey's moves, seeing him as he aged, how can this not be nothing but the truth? How? You could disregard it. You could say, I don't believe it all the way. You could be pro Steve Harvey. What I'm saying again, it sounds on point. It sounds on par. Let's keep going.
You told us it was her, then you went and married somebody else that think like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history. Guy Torrey did a beautiful special about the Comedy Store and Fat Tuesday, where he said that Steve and Cedric and Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish came through there and made all lies. Steve and Cedric never performed at the Comedy Store at all. Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory. You mean to tell me if Steve Harvey, your favorite comedian, you mean you've been waiting for him to do stand-up for 15 years now?
I mean, Steve got a lot of other
DL still out there. None of those irons matter to stand up. Who cares that they wrote a placard for you? Kevin told you he wasn't going to wear no dress until
I wanted to pause that right there before it goes into the Kevin Hart commentary. What Katt said about Steve Harvey is really facts. Going back to even that comedy special, what was Steve Harvey really known to really be doing? And it's no disrespect. Like, Steve Harvey
Kevin told you
has never been to me, I looked at him as a comic. I look at Steve Harvey as sort of like a business guy. You know what I'm saying? He's like a business mogul. I hate to say, the perfect comparison to Steve Harvey. He was always a good comic, but he was never elite. And I know I'm going to get pushback for saying this. I look at Steve Harvey like Jay-Z. His business acumen far surpasses his actual talent. Jay-Z's business-wise is A+ out of this world. As far as musically and having a state of the culture, being from New York City, I know people outside of New York get mad when we say this. Jay-Z's impact is not as much as 50 Cent's. Musically, it's not. Jay-Z's impact is not as much as DMX. Musically, it's not. What up, Swipe? When you see those things happening in real time, you understand, like, bro, that's a real thing. Like, the impact that Jay-Z had is not as much musically. It's not. What up, Juan? It's just not. Whole business-wise is incredible. He's above average. But 50? DMX when he was out, bro. X gonna give it to you. Come on now. Dipset had they little era, they little wave. They was way more impactful than Jay-Z. I don't ever remember growing up wanting to be like Hov. Business-wise, we respect Hov. We see what he's at mentally. We see what he's doing. But Hov socially, rap-wise, and we are from the South, below the Mason-Dixon line, I get it. But I don't think Hov had as much impact musically like Steve Hart had comically. Business-wise, relationship-wise, how he's been level up-wise, brother, iconic. Salute him. But everything else, I don't know. It's just, I know people outside of New York get offended when you say that. Shout out to the New Yorkers out there. But it's true. They just get facts. Jazzy Jeff, what Swipe said, Jay-Z said stuff. 50 was a big. I really think people don't like to say it. 50 Cent was had a higher peak than Jay-Z ever had. Jay-Z was constantly good, but he would never MVP quality guy. He just wasn't. I can name Hov's song, but to hear Hov really bumping and doing his thing, nah, he really wasn't. So it's like when they use these examples, we got to understand what people mean. And the reason why I like to mention these type of things is because when Katt Williams goes on what he's talking about, when he's mentioning these people, you can see it in different analogies. When he mentioned the Kevin Hart piece, I'm going to say it like this, y'all. Growing up, I get it as a millennial, 30 years old and up, right? Kevin Hart did come out of nowhere. He wasn't like known for real. So when Katt put it in a chronological order, how he moved to LA and then he got Soul playing real quick, looking back at it, Katt was the Richard. He right. Swipe on facts again. But like Kevin Hart came out of nowhere. So when Soul Plane came in, remember he had Snoop Dogg in that joint. He had heavy hit makers. Kevin Hart didn't have no motion like that. And we're on the East Coast. Being on the East Coast, you knew who Dave Chappelle was. You never knew no rumblings about Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, comedically, socially, was not of a big deal. He just wasn't. So no matter what you look about, if you look back throughout history, he did just like go up quick. So when Katt gave that analogy of what a plant is, I'm going to let him use his own words. If you ain't seen it in detail, he right. A plant is somebody that comes in, has way more success than the average person, and that sprouts quickly. Going back to music, 6ix9ine, the Little Pumps, anybody else that has that fast burn. What's the one dude that had that Whoopty song? Out of nowhere. He just came out of nowhere with a hit. If you got a hit and you don't hear no underground buzz, no mixtapes, no artistry, no sampling songs, and then you grow, then I don't even really believe it. But if I see you just get a smash hit record before you put in that work, I think Katt gave an analogy what a plant is. And I know I'm going to go controversial right quick. You know who else was another plant that he mentioned later on in the video that's true? Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors ain't had that slow grind that Michael B. Jordan had. Jonathan Majors ain't have the wire rolls, the short casting films. He ain't have none of that. Jonathan Majors just went up. He just went up. Yeah, facts. Swipe on the road. He did just come in and expose everything. You know what I'm saying? Like he did. He came in and he was just up. So if you just up as a man, every brother know anybody just go up quickly, you gotta look at him with a side eye. Because every black man in this country knows that you don't get the handouts that most people get. What do I mean by that? As a brother that makes money, that owns businesses, shout out to all my brothers that own businesses in this country. All my business owner brothers got out the mud. The reason why I don't know anybody that's ever gotten a layup. And I want all my brothers to respond to this. When have you gotten a layup? Job, employment, life, family. When has any or anything come easy to you? As a black man in America, nothing comes easy. You got to work and get it. You got to work and get everything. The customer service is harder. The loan internship is harder. The relationships are harder. Dealing with the legacy on a day in and day out basis is harder. So if you are a brother that gets it, you know what I'm saying? It is never easy. Swipe on it again. Never unless you're getting a handout. He right. My boy's on fire right now. Unless you getting a handout, you ain't getting no love as a brother in this country. Any brother that owns anything, I always salute him because I know what it's like. If you have to move, if you have to employ people, if you have to travel, if you have children, as a brother, you get nothing easy. And if a brother does get something easy, you got to look at him with a side eye. Because either he comes from wealth, he doesn't work hard, or he has no sustainability. All three are negative. All three are negative because it's going to mess up the market for other brothers going after you. Because the brothers that are going after you have to overproduce, and over-deliver because you did not do the same when you had your time with it. And anybody that knows that works with service, that deals with sales, that deals with business, every brother that does something bad doesn't just stain them, it sustains the whole people. Think about this for a second, y'all. Corporate, right? If I hire a person, he doesn't pan out, it's on my shoulders. It's on me that he didn't work out. Not on the brother that didn't work out. It's, hey, you didn't hire that brother. You gave him a recommendation. It ain't working out. How is that my fault? But you have to understand socially in the society of America, that's placed on us. And that is most thing that many black men have no idea how the rules are different from us. It could be us to blame. It could be of our parents and them not stressing how different American rules are for us. But we got to understand from this point forward that the rules are different. And once you realize the rules, what you cannot do afterward is not act like you don't know. What you got to do is move accordingly. You must have your own village. Men, you must have your own village. You must have your own community. You must have your own tribe. And you must have your own brothers to lean on. Because times are going to get hard for you. You're going to have slow moments. You're going to have fast moments. But you got to understand that the era of truth is the era we in right now. And as much as we may not like to hear it, we may not love it, as a brother in this country, you got to know the rules. And Katt gave us the rule books. Unless you're willing to compromise this for that, you have to do extra. Unless you're willing to do something extra, you will not get the reward from it. Know the rules, watch the habit. I want to go ahead and play this video point next, y'all. That was really impactful. Because Katt gave an example about how did somebody get a leg up, but nobody since him has not got anything else moving forward. Let's watch.
No dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. It's all right. For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch it shit out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't.
And what do he mean by step and fetch stuff, y'all? If you did not know, that's right. You can't rewrite history. The cooning shit, excuse my language, the cooning behavior, the overtly little bit, alternative lifestyle, that type of behavior. That's what he's saying. He was saying that I'm trying to be a man of integrity to know that I got children. I got family, and this movie will outlast even my lifetime. I don't want anything on my legacy that says I was agreeing to that. And the big message that people overlook is that Katt was saying it's brothers that will take that for money. It is brothers, and I want everybody to go this as a man. It is brothers out here that will allow the women to talk to them crazy. You will let a woman talk to you crazy all for some love. You will let a woman derogatory you, talk bad about you, have no boundaries with her just for some love. Most brothers don't understand coming at a position of weakness, trying to negotiate. My boy said I'm on fire. You allow it to happen. You got to understand as a man, you got to be established, man. Emotionally, physically, financially. I ain't saying you got to be rich, but you got to be established enough as a man to know, hey, I'm going to leave this right now if you don't respect me like I want. I'm willing to cut you off, block you, do whatever I got to do because I'm a man at the end of the day. And if you don't do that as a man, psychologically, it messes with you, man. And I've been there. I'm not going to sit right here and lie. As a brother, I've been there. Not having a steady piece of, dealing with a woman that was talking to me crazy, being disrespectful. I'll allow it to happen. But what I learned from that moment, even my father told me, is like, as a man, son, ain't nothing worth being disrespected. Ain't nothing worth your morality as a man. If you ain't got yourself right, don't deal or be in a relationship with a woman. Because at the end of the day, only thing that will happen to you is what you allow. And if you ain't got your morality, how you going to lead your family? How you going to lead your life? How you going to live your life? How you going to say, I'm willing to take anything and everything that happens to me? That is the problem that we see that Katt is talking about. And I will always like to emphasize and harp it back to the brothers that are doing extremely well. If you are trying to build yourself up, if you are trying to establish yourself, if you are a brother, this type of statements from brothers that are supposed to be upper echelon makes it hard for us. Because what they're going to say is that he took it, why won't you? If you going with it, why won't you? If I'm willing to accept it, why won't you? If whatever we got going on right now is just going to happen, it's going to continue to happen that manifest that way. And what we got to understand, especially as black men, as brothers, because I love to emphasize for us, man. I'm our biggest advocate. I love to emphasize it, right? Whatever we do doesn't just affect us. It affects our cousin, our sons, our nephews. So we got to understand where we are right now. We're at the foundation piece. The foundation piece for how it will continue to go. Now, you can either choose to deal with it, but you got to have a standard for yourself. And if ain't nobody else ever told you that, your standards will outlast you and your household. So if you building yourself right now, keep building. If you at that learning stage, keep learning. But do not compromise yourself, man. Because I'm going to tell you what nobody else is going to tell you because they're afraid to admit it. Thank you again, Swipe. It's going to bother you long term, bro. It's going to bother you and mentally mess with you that you did whatever you could for that woman or person. They still did you dirty. That you was a good person and they still didn't respect you. That you was emotionally there for them in that moment and you never got it back in return. What I want to tell any brother, don't ever get to that point. I've been there. It ain't fun. If any real man will tell you, being there and giving the people that ain't reciprocating it back to you is the worst feeling ever. Man, woman, brother, sister, or family, it is. And I know we got to go through our pitfalls and leaps and bounds, but if you can avoid that, I want to harp you to try to go past as much as you can. So let's go back to what Kevin was saying, man. I appreciate you, Swift. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. But no, I mean, it's just mentally as a man, we got to be willing to say that. We got to really talk about our losses and the bad things that happen. Like, the wins are always cool to talk about. I could talk about moving to Houston. I could talk about going this. I could talk about the wins. Yes, I got wins, but I took 1,000 losses, man. I done took 1,000 losses. I done took the city bus multiple times. I done got took before. I done got money stolen before. I done had multiple losses because of me. Because I didn't have my boundaries instead. Because mentally I wasn't strong enough to say that I didn't do that for myself. And as a man, specifically as young brothers, you got to tell them. You got to stress them like, man, hey, look, man, losses going to come, but be willing to deal with it. And what I see is a lot of brothers never hear that conversation, so it ain't easy to deal with. And yes, I know it's uncomfortable, ladies and gentlemen. I get it. It's uncomfortable. But you know what's worse? Getting out in this world as a man and you're not equipped to handle it. You know, ain't nothing worse, y'all. And I'm going to get personal, man. to see an older brother that ain't doing nothing. Ain't nothing worse than seeing somebody that has potential to do anything they want, but they ain't doing it. And people don't like it when you go there or say that, but it's the truth, bro. It ain't. It's the truth. And it's hard to have that conversation because mentally you see where they were supposed to be and they were your big homie at one time. But now that you are doing better, you know how awkward that feels? Man, it's coming to my mind. Paid in Full, right? Remember when Azon Faze was, remember when AZ, sorry, was the little homie, right? And the dude that was dating his sister was the big guy at that time. And then when he came home from prison, AZ was the big homie, right? But what he couldn't accept, the biggest part in that movie that people overlook is that when AZ came home, he gave that man $15,000. And I take it like that because I have given guys money. I have looked out. And man, they looked at it like you doing them bad. And I know it's crazy as a man. You got to understand, man, that doing and giving to people as a man, if you're not mentally ready to handle that, it can hurt a lot of people around you. But back to that story, AZ looked out for that guy, but he looked at it as he was doing them bad. Think about that. A guy loved and admired you and gave you an opportunity. He did that, and you took it as a slight and a threat. You looked out for bro, gave him a job, got him a haircut, paid for him to get in the lounge, had a girl set up for him. But the moment you did that for that brother, he took that as a slight. And if you have not watched Paid in Full in a while, y'all, movies imitate life. We don't know how real that scene was. Because you literally, that was your boy, man. You looked out for him. But when you look out for people when they used to be ahead of you, you got to be careful about that. You got to. Because they won't say it. That's where resentment is. That's where that hate is. That's where that, oh, you think you better. Oh, you got your business. Oh, you making money. Oh, you got the girl. That's what that is, y'all. And we got to understand that stuff is thousands of years of written history. If you are behind and then you go ahead, it's dangerous for you to be around that element. That's any brother. That's any man, period. If you were behind and now you are ahead and you go around family, friends, cousins, you got to be careful, bro. Real, I mean, for real. I know ain't nobody else is uncomfortable to say on the other side of it, and I hope other brothers on the other side can vouch for it too. It's scary because you can all be at the same place at one point in life, but now that you are ahead, y'all ain't the same no more. So mentally, you think you are the same. Your emotions, you still are the same. But they don't look at you like that. They look at you as something else. And you got to understand, you are the money now. And as much as it's crazy to say, when you have a little bit, you can't be around all the time if people ain't got no drive too. You can't. And what Swipe said, they ain't got no motion as a man, no drive. If you got drive around, if you got drive as a man and you around men that do not have drive, you need to be nervous, bro. As the back of my picture I got right here, I love Nipsey Hussle and his music, right? But Nip was crazy to be around the environment he was in. As a multi-million-dollar guy, you cannot be in the hood. You just can't. You can be through, you can swing through, you can come in, you can come out, but you can't be in those environments. You just can't. It's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It's dangerous for you to be in those environments because resentment is going to be there and you don't even know it. The talking, the murmuring, and any brother that come from the hood environment, come from a culture. We all got our environments. It's real. It's going to be there. And like I said, I'm going to give you a way it's going to be there. Oh, I see you with your little business, cuz. Oh, I see you doing good now. Dude, hey, give a boy a job, man. Let me hold something. Sound familiar? Oh man, I see you doing this and doing that, man. I see you every day living life, man. Oh man, you think you big time. You better listen to it. You better listen to it. Even with myself, man, and I have to give my mother credit. I can go around with some illness in my family, y'all, and I see it. We were the project kids, right? My mother had children young. My father was in street lifestyle. We were the project kids. And when I go around family members that had way more opportunity, that had way more guidance early on, when I go around them now, I feel it. And it's kind of crazy, right? Because it's flipped almost. Like, man, you had way more opportunity than I ever had. You had way more blessings. You had way more trajectory, but you didn't take it seriously. But you got to understand now, you took it seriously, and it's dangerous, bro. And I think, again, as I'm ranting and raving, why this is important, because when Katt Williams is talking about Katt, we got to understand what his side coming to. So let's hear Katt Williams break it down one more time.
Need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem, and then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, again, I'm on the winning side of these decisions. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. You didn't know? Yeah, Kevin Hart purchased it, so he's now doing Comic View. That happened at the same time that they get.
I think that's impactful, y'all, on a different note. I think, I appreciate you, fam. I think that's impactful on a different note, right? How many people in your life has had way more benefits than you have? And I want you to look at yourself. I'm going to use myself as an example because I believe that's important, but I believe everybody, every man, woman needs to do this. How many of you know people in your family, your relatives, your lifestyle that had way more of a stronger starting point, but you surpassed them now? How many relatives, friends, family, cousins, anybody you know that started with way more starting jump line, but you're doing better than them now? What Katt is symbolizing is that you can't recreate God-given ability, talent, and success stories. The hard work got to be there. It got to be there. The drive got to be there. No matter how you feel about it, no matter what your thoughts are, you cannot recreate that motion. I'm sorry. Either it's there or it's not. You can only plant yourself so long. Yes, you will have a good jumping start compared to most people. Yes, you will have priority seating. Yes, you will have parents that will benefit you. Yes, you will have those that will give you a better starting point. But sustainability will not. Man or woman, if you want sustainability, you got to put that work in. Kevin Hart has had a much more higher jumping point than most people. But let's take it away from them. Use your own life. Think about in your life, man. You got to reflect back sometimes. I can name so many family members that I know of that had way more of a greater jumping distance. But I look back over my shoulders, y'all. The gap is from here, from me and the mountain. Why? Because they ain't had to work. They did not have the work. As a man, I don't care about how good, how tough. You got to work, bro. As a lady, I don't care about your beauty. That you got to work on yourself. Internally, all that stuff. If it ain't in you, it ain't. That's real talk, one. All that stuff. If you ain't got that to keep you going, you gotta mentally know that's where you gotta be. Like I said, you can only fake it for so long. Your daddy can only finance you for so long. Your uncle can only help you so far. At the end of the day, You got to show that results of where you at. And why do I say that's so powerful? I say that's so powerful, y'all, because I like to use myself as an example. I can remember multiple family members, and I never like to go personal. I know who they are. You know, I write them in my little book. I look at them every now and again. I look at them, write down their name, like, what this nigga doing? You know, he ain't doing nothing. And I laugh. And I smile. And I look back at it. You know who the real ones are. The real ones love you and support you, but you know who was talking about they was going to be that much. And they ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't. You know who they are. You got yours too. You got your motivation list, your inspirational list. You know who they are. And the reason why that's so funny, man, because as a younger brother, you don't know that. News flash for all men. Your life don't start till you hit 30. I wish somebody would have told us that, right? As a man, 30 is when your life officially starts. That's when stuff starts to make sense. That's when things start to go in order. That's where you could see and look back and see where you came from and what journeys you had. That's where you could look at your parents from a clear eye view to say, you know what, mama wasn't always right. You know what, daddy still had some BS with him. You know what, they had kids too young. You know what, I was with that girl. I shouldn't have did that. That was my fault. That's when you become reflective. So if you are not even having that period where you are forced to be reflective and you are just given stuff, your growth ain't gonna never come. It ain't gonna never be there where you can actually grow and develop and get into your own manhood in your own environments. Why is that important? Because as you get older, if you are not improving, your life will get harder. Your life will. Your life will get harder as a man or woman if you're not trying to get better with something. If ain't nobody else tell you that, that's the truth. Now, it's normal to struggle. I don't care where you at in your life. If you're struggling right now, that's okay. All of that is completely normal and fine. Nobody told us that it's meant. You're supposed to struggle early on in your manhood. But as you grow and as you age, you'll get better little by little. Now, I ain't saying you got to be no overnight celebrity. I ain't saying you got to be a superstar, but you should start seeing a little bit of growth. And when you start seeing that little bit of growth, you got to know that you're doing something right. Then you got to tweak. Then you got to modify. Then you got to alter. Then you got to look back at it and make some big changes. But the reason why that's such a big deal, and I'm going to keep going on to Katt Williams' point because he was striking. When you are given something and the talent doesn't sustain, you get people like
Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said it don't line up. How it don't line up? He thought that I was just a no-name comedian and that he could take this joke and nobody would know. Right. The issue was that I had already done this particular joke on BET's Comic View twice. Right. It had done so well on BET's Comic View that they had made it part of the commercial. So part of the commercial of make sure you tune in to BET was you seeing me doing this joke. So this is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke, and it's my close.
And I'm going to tell you why this part right here hits so different. If you really done worked hard to establish yourself with something, if you really worked hard to build yourself up, learn, do whatever you took, and somebody just take what you work for, bro, I feel Katt. I have been in those moments, y'all, where I'll put that work in and somebody try to ride your wave. As a man, you want to put hands and feet on them. You do. If I put my blood, sweat, tears, work ethic, equity in something, and for you to come behind me and think you just can take it, I felt them. Every man knows that feeling. When you are working hard to establish something, to build something, and somebody else can just come off after you and capitalize of it, man, that builds resentment. So as a guy in that phase of what Katt's life was, he was in a development phase, right? And he was developing himself. And while he was developing, not as famous, somebody that was bigger took something that he worked for hard for and capitalized off of it. I feel him, man. Let's keep going.
Joke. Okay. 1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship. Him and Steve had already apologized for me, so I gave him a pass for a decade. Why would you sit here and be like, I saw Katt 30 times, and Katt didn't do, as I stand before you, Shannon, I would have bust Cedric's stomach.
Real talk, though. I gotta pause it right there, man. Can you imagine you working hard for something and a brother that you knew came up and was talking to somebody and made it seem like they were standing on business and you was shook? Now, I ain't never been a knockout artist, y'all. I've never been a rah-rah fighting, trying to bust everybody's head type of guy. That ain't my stilo. But I'm always going to defend myself, right? And for you to know that you did wrong to a person and then you act like he ain't say nothing or stand on business at the time, just think about that for a second. Somebody come in your house. Hey, bro, I need this. You let them borrow it. You ask for it back, and they got an attitude. That's a different level of disrespect. I'm going to put that out there. That is blatantly you saying you ain't going to do nothing, bro. That's you blatantly saying, I'm going to come in there, eat your food, put my feet on the table, eat your cookies, eat your candy, go in there and do what I need to do in your house, and you ain't going to say nothing. Katt, right. I got to put hands and feet on you at that point. He got to bust his stomach. That was a funny comedy line. Let's keep going.
There was nothing that would have kept me from one of these in that patch right there. Like, are you kidding me? Why would you downplay me like that? Why did I give you a pass if you were just gonna lie? Cedric sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here look like a walrus. You didn't say nothing. He can't even get his arms off his stomach sitting over here. Why I'm not a movie star. What?
It's a situation.
He never wrote anything. Remember, when Cedric the Entertainer starts, he's supposed to be singing, dancing, and telling jokes. That's why he's called the Entertainer.
Right.
We found out he can't sing, can't dance, and doesn't write jokes. He did.
You know why that's so powerful right there, y'all? Is that Katt is speaking on something else, another level that we kind of forget. Your label is the serial entrepreneur. Your label is good father, good this. But you ain't good at nothing that you promoting. What I have a problem with, y'all, shout out to Houston, Texas. There are so many higher end restaurants that don't give that higher quality service, man. I have no problem with paying for something, make it make sense. But if I go to your place, a business, establishment, I break bread with you, I pay you on time, I give you everything that I'm required to do, and you under-deliver for me, you need to make some changes. Right now, we have broad labels on things, and it ain't living up. How is he call himself the entertainer, meaning he has multiple facets, multiple ways he's supposed to be? But you ain't that. I'm going to give you another way it's going. I'm Band Hunter, I'm Band Hunter Big Dog. Trap Easy Lord. Bro, your trap ain't jumping. Your money ain't flipping sideways. You ain't popping like that. Why do you have these names that don't match up what you are doing? Now, I do understand. Got to build myself in. Got to have that labeling. But as a man, your words got to match your actions. I don't care what nobody say. Character, integrity, all that stuff still matters in the real world. Social media is one realm, right? It's so many people that are in this space, right, y'all, that don't match their actions. You still got to have that in-person service. You still got to have that ability to talk, break bread, have a conversation. You still got to do that in real life. The social media dynamic does not translate. It just doesn't. And I believe right now in the time that we're in, so many people are so focused on, excuse me, as the online side, but you still got to have that in-person selling point. The online side matters. I'm kind of late to the online side, but you know, I'm kind of glad I did it this version because my in-person skills are above average. And when I'm out here in these environments, y'all, around different type of people, I can see the gaps. I can really see the gaps in communication, eye contact, delivery, voice execution, how you respond, professionalism, dynamics, customer relations. I can see it and it's prevalent. So you cannot charge, require, request something of people even if you're not giving that amount of service on the back end. That's my main problem I got. I'm not saying that you can't charge or do what you want, but you got to over-deliver what you are charging. As a professional, a business owner, a sales-minded person, make sure you over-deliver. Make sure you over-deliver. Remember, Black companies are always demonized first. So as a man, you got to do whatever it requires you to do to align yourself up and overgive. And one thing I think Katt is pointing out is that this gentleman's name is the entertainer, quote unquote, but he's not entertaining up to that level. Think about it. That's kind of a scam. The scam is at a Hollywood level. This is your name. This is what you're supposed to be doing, brother, but you under-delivering on it. So how can you call yourself that? Let's keep going.
4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi. Can I say that again for the audience? They're so bad that they're not available on Netflix or Tubi.
You don't think Sam's a good comedian?
The world doesn't think that, sir. I have 12 comedy specials. He has 4 specials that are not available on Netflix or Tubi. And this is
Katt Ruthless Records with that bar. But you know the one thing he ain't lying about, y'all? Said is not a good comedian. You are not a good person if everybody says you're not. You're just not. You are a bad person if 10 or more people was telling you. I had this conversation last night with my boy Fred. I do believe where there's smoke, there is fire. If everybody said you a robber or a scammer, I ain't going to say you are, but I'm sure it's going in my wallet. If somebody tell me, 3 different people tell me you a thief, do I got to get raped to get robbed before I find out you a thief, or do I got to be on alert? I'm going to be on alert. I'm going to listen, not going to say that you're guilty, but I'm going to hear that message and play my eyes to it. I know the old notion is that we got 2 ways to learn, from other people or through firsthand experience. I tend to do both. You ain't got to tell me you know scammer. If everybody say you a scammer, I'm going to say something got to be true about that. People don't say words or say meaning about people that ain't got some validity to it. So if I keep hearing that same energy about what you're doing as a person, there's some truth to that. Good, bad, and different. And I'm not judging you, man. But your reputation leads further than you can demand. So as we focus on Cedric the Entertainer, he has never been good at comedy. That's a fact. He just hasn't, man. Just because you are famous doesn't mean you are great. Just because you've had longevity and people will notice you more noticeable, that does not mean you are great. Just because you are more popular does not mean you are a good person. Your integrity will lead you, man. You ain't got to lead with your mouth. Your actions are going to show you long term. Your actions are going to lead to where we're supposed to be. That's the true part of this conversation that Katt is analyzing, but I'm giving you from different examples. Let's keep going.
This is the age of truth, and the truth doesn't need to be scared of the fact that people tell lies. Katt's on drugs. Where are the stories? Why is there no story of anybody who ever sold a drug to me, did a drug with me, was around me when I was inebriated? I got 5 daughters. I got 5 sons. Why would we tell these ridiculous stories? Because it's competition.
Now, I'm reading Katt Williams won Cedric the Entertainer's and
let's pause it right there. Remember why I told you that all accusations don't mean you're 100% right? Katt said something that was really outstanding and phenomenal right there. He has had accusations about him being a drug addict, but nobody ever said they sold him drugs. Think about that for a second. There has been multiple people, i.e. Kevin Hart, you know what you said, big dog, that said Katt was a drug addict. But we ain't heard nobody say they sold Katt a pack. We ain't heard nobody say they seen Katt drunk, geeked out, the whole nine. We ain't never heard that.
I didn't want...
All we've ever heard is that Katt has done these things and ain't nobody show us no burden of proof on it. Remember, Whitney Houston, R.I.P. to the great Whitney Houston, was accused of being a crackhead. We seen pictures of her and Bobby and Whitney, and we knew people that sold to them, y'all. We knew. So that was different. But Katt saying he got allegations without no proof. And guess what? He right. So let's go ahead and shift to a new subject I think is very important. A lot of brothers, I'm never going to tell you who to date. Never going to tell you that. But this Jonathan Major thing that he put in perspective is real. Rosewood, Tulsa, Wilmington, North Carolina, Martinsville, New Orleans, Memphis, Tennessee. What I'm naming all parts in Black history of ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing is a term used where Black communities were wiped out due to racial violence. Most of the time, ethnic cleansing in this country occurred because of a white woman accusing a Black man of sexually assaulting her. The Scarborough brothers, the Central Park Five. If you look at every part in history, y'all, you see multiple times when an accusation is made on a Black man. What we are seeing in real time right now is another one of those times. Huckleberry Finn, you name it. Katt Williams breaks down the point on Jonathan Majors. If you are a brother and you interracially date, you must understand if an accusation is made against you, you are guilty. Let me say that again. If you are a brother that dates interracially, you must understand if an accusation is made against you from your white wife partner, you are going to be guilty. You ain't got to believe me. You ain't got to listen to me. Read history. Look at stories. Look at events. And listen to what this brother was saying.
To get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. Think I'm on, Katt.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that. Hey, you saw that Black woman come get his charge cut in half? Thank you, Megan Good. God bless you coming to save that slave. If he'd had to be there by himself, he was getting all four. Guilty. She came in there, was just so beautiful, they had to knock half of it off. Bless his heart. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theory, but I thought Katt Williams said any time they make you into that position, part of that contract is you do understand whenever we want to take you down, we can, right? Part of giving you the world. First of all, they went around the world for 2 years straight telling any women that would listen that this was a good-looking Negro. Mm-hmm. Since when? When did y'all start liking a big nose? And when did y'all like a little head and a big jaw? When? Since when? That look like my daddy. When you start liking my daddy? You like Black people's features like that? If this ugly nigga is good looking, then all niggas is good looking. Anytime you see them telling you something you can't believe, just understand it's a play. And it don't matter. You gonna know it's a play as soon as they get in that position and think they gonna tell somebody something. No, you're not. No, you're not. Marvel will cancel you you won't be allowed to read a comic book. What are you talking about?
Katt said it in a joking fashion, but Katt didn't harp on the point that I really think need to be harped on the most, man. If you are a brother that interracially dates, history shows you time after time again that it is taboo and it's not liked. If you are a Black male in this country that interracially dates, you must know that you will be guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent. I know we hear that you are innocent until proven guilty, but when it comes to interracial dating, that is not the case. Don't believe me. Look at people that are affluent. Look at historical black figures. Look at time and history again. I know we have brothers that like to go against the grain and tell you don't know what you're talking about and tell you that ain't what they believe in, and they have every right to feel that way. But I just want to give you a quote. Shout out to Pops again. A fool learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. Let me say it again. A fool learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. We see these mistakes being made in history over and over again. I don't like it. I don't like it that it has to be that way. I don't like it that it is meant to happen. But what I do understand is that it's the reality of the world we live in. And it is. Good, bad, or indifferent, it's what the world we live in. So either you could push back, you could constantly say that you ain't going for that. You could say that you don't believe that you are different, that you are the outlier brother, that you think those situations happen to them because they did something wrong. You can tell yourself that, and I'm not going to go against you. But I'm just going to say, as an educated brother on race relations and seeing it time and time in history again, protect yourself. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Because once it happens, and stuff is going to happen in your relationship, no relationship is perfect. Me and wifey get into it all the time. We argue like cats and dogs. Never domestic violence wise, because we've been with each other for a while. We ain't on that time, but we get into it. If you get into it with your interracial relationship, you must ask yourself these parameters. Have you and your lady had these conversations? Does she know the dynamics of race relations in America? Does she know that it's still taboo, it's still frowned upon? Do you understand that race in America is still a big topic? Do you understand that once you have an uncomfortable conversation as a black man, you are innocent until proven guilty? Don't believe me? Look out for yourself. Let's pivot to another thing that Katt touched on this video. Ice Cube. I'm going to tell y'all something. Ice Cube is who we want Tyler Perry to be. Let me say it again. Ice Cube is who we try to act like Tyler Perry is. Tyler Perry don't put nobody on. Tyler Perry is a billionaire. Who Tyler Perry put on? Name me a star outside of Tyler Perry that he's built. Call me a conspiracy theorist. That's the way I think Tyler Perry is supported as he is, because he doesn't help other black people. Name me a superstar that Tyler Perry has created. Name me one. Ice Cube, Katt Williams, Mike Epps, Chris Tucker, catapulted their career. Ice Cube is that guy. I aspire to be like Cube. Ice Cube has put multiple people on. Tyler Perry, I can't name nobody. Looking at it like Katt said, it's a reason why they push Tyler Perry. Because he ain't Quentin Tarantino. He ain't Spielberg. He ain't those guys. He don't catapult anybody. Spike Lee did. Spike does. Love him or hate him. Wesley Snipes, Samuel L. Spike Lee made some careers. But what Katt is speaking on is that the brother, the independent black filmmaker, the independent black sports league, had people throw dirt on his name. And I wasn't aware of this. I had to dive down the rabbit hole. But you had people complain about Ice Cube not paying them correctly off the films that he made. No Ice Cube slander should be respected any parts of this country. Ice Cube need to be up there with MLK and them. I said what I said. Ice Cube is that iconic of a figure. He has done that much for the community. He should be given an amount of respect, love, and admiration above anybody. Let's see what Katt said about this.
Ungrateful bastards that would say anything about Cube's payment. You shouldn't even talk to them anymore. Like you don't go to Goodwill. You don't go to a Goodwill thrift store and go, look at all this cheap ass shit. Why don't you shut up? Why don't you shut up? You could have went to Hermes. Why you didn't go to Balenciaga? Why you didn't get a bowl of the ball main? You want to have that conversation? Right. What you mean the independent black dude who's filming it partly out of his fucking pocket? What you mean he didn't pay you enough?
I'm gonna pause it right there, y'all. In Houston, we have a lot of black-owned businesses, right? And anytime I go out, me and wifey always joke about it. I never ask the small businesses for discounts. I never do. But when I go to these large corporations, oh, I need a discount. Oh, yeah. I need everything I can get. I'm trying to pay y'all as least as I can. But the black-owned businesses, the small businesses, the small entrepreneurs, you want to give to them. These corporations take from them. They ain't doing nothing but price increase and taking from you. That's who you go after, not the small filmmaker that's trying to make something that's an iconic movie that's been better than anything else that's been created in recent time. We go after small town people that are trying to do better, but we got people in the community making money right now and we don't say nothing to. That's some real talk that Katt Williams dropped on him. Ice Cube was an independent filmmaker trying to make a movie that was iconic. Name me a movie that's been more iconic than Friday the past 30 years. Newsflash, you can't. Name me a movie that put more people on than Friday did. You can't. And for people that got that opportunity to be complaining on Cube, Katt ain't lying, bro. Block him. Don't call him again. Lose my number, bro.
They weirdos that felt like they earned the opportunity because they were big. No, yeah. I understood.
That ain't no $200 million movie. Well, I mean, how much did you expect you was gonna make?
Well, I made enough to get them teeth fixed just like you did.
Yeah.
So it was no harm, no foul. I knew that I was gonna go from there, and there was no
turning back for Katt Williams. Would you be willing to do another Friday?
Cube already asked me to write it. I was supposed to have been writing it. This is what these guys are mad about. Like, we lost some great people before this movie could come out regardless. Right. And so, yes, there desperately needs to be one. But we miss John Witherspoon in a way that can't really be quantified, if I'm being honest with you. And the Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Oh, Lord.
Whew. If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill.
And that's a great point, man. And I think one thing that Katt pointed out is that those films were not supposed to be blockbusters films. As you educate yourself, you know how filmography works, right? The budget for that film was, they grossed and made almost 17 times what it was supposed to be. That's a huge monumental success story. The cultural relevance, the iconic figures, the people that careers were based off of that. Debo, can you name a moment, movie in time in the past 20 years that has had that much of an impact and cultural significance? You can't. You can't. The superhero movies come and go. They're awesome. The graphics, the specialization is tremendous. But the amount of staying power and cultural impact that lasts over time, you don't see that. And when Katt is breaking that down, it lets you know why it is even more distasteful when these things happen and why they happen. And I want to finish this out before I get to close to the ending point. And I want to harp on why some things are what they are. It didn't work. It didn't work. I'll just skip past it before I hit to my next point. it was so distasteful, y'all, because when Katt is breaking down how these things happen over time, when you have something that is culturally significant or it's in a moment of time, you can't recreate that. And we saw this happen in real time. What do you mean by that, right? We saw them trying to recreate a film, The Color Purple. The Color Purple is a horrible movie. It's unrealistic. It's made to demonize black men. And the significance of what happened in that film don't need to be recreated. If you look back to historical moments, you can see that the film by Mr. was talked negatively about. The guy that was talked negatively about for beating and doing those negative things, it was made to demonize him and black men because there was no context into his story. When you look at the Jeffrey Dahmers, you see why he was that person. But when it's the Misters and other black men, there is no context. It's just he's a woman beater, he's a horrible person, he's a horrible guy. The Color Purple did not need to be recreated. And guess what, y'all? It will never have the same impact due to black males having the ability to speak, which they never did before. When The Color Purple came out big, right, there was a limited voice for black people that could speak out and talk about the story. Right now, feminism or dark, black, horrible black films like that cannot survive. They cannot thrive in the environment because multiple brothers, i.e. me, you, have different ways in which we can communicate. We can give our opinion in real time, our perspective in one time. The media will never, ever be able to be dominated again by one point of view. There's multiple perspectives, analytical point of views, saying structures that can be given. So that Color Purple ideology, bell hooks, other feminist ideology that was once thriving can never happen again. It can't. So this leads to why The Color Purple flop. I don't have a dog in the fight about what was going on internally. We all know about the money, yada, 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 that was going on. But what was eye-catching to me is that you can't even recreate numbers anymore. Rotten Tomatoes scores off the chart. The viewer rating is off the chart. Then why are the sales so low? You can't juke the numbers anymore in real time, y'all. That's what I think these big conglomerates and countries and companies don't understand. You can say that this movie's a box office hit. You can say it's just as good. You can say the people are clamoring for it. They really want it. But in real time, you can't do that. That era of media dominating and what is pushing something is gone. I mean, think about it with music, y'all. Every part of our life. There is no way that one entity can dominate and tell us what we need to listen to anymore. That era is done. Finito. Gone. Run amok. It's gone forever. It is. The new era is everybody must be pushed to the top. The cream will rise to the top. If you are good, you will flourish. That is what's going to happen long term. So if you are not good and your film and your quality does not have the grassroots support, it won't thrive. Stuff that is real will thrive. We're clamoring for real stories. And I'm going to make a bold prediction. I've been working on the Black Panther script, right? I want that story to be told. There are so many phenomenal stories in this country that need to be told. And if you can crack that ice and get it told first, I believe we got some hits on our hand. I really do. Trying to schedule an interview to meet with other Black Panther leaders to tell their story in totality has been one thing I've been working on personally. Don't like to give my goals and outreaches out, but I definitely believe that is something that is a big deal. And I believe that image, I'm going to post it out there, y'all. That whole true story of America is being clamored for. It's being wanting to know. It's people that want to support, want to go after it. That is the new wave of film, industry, and legacy. Mark my words, y'all. People that can tell their stories in multiple ways and multiple fashions will be the new wave of television, film, and legacy. Thank you again for catching your boy on another edition of Live on Sunday. Make sure you go to your YouTube channel, comment, like, and subscribe. All platforms, King Crowd, Terrell Crowd on Facebook, whatever. Make sure you hit with your boy. It was so good to chop it up with my people tonight, man. The reason why I think subjects like this are important is because we got to understand we are living in a different era, world, and different mindset. And the best thing we got to learn in life, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to agree with all sides of the story, but make sure you educate yourself on what the truth and what real life moments are. You ain't got to like it, but learn to listen in to multiple perspectives. It is I, your gracious host, King Crowder. I just want to tell you, man, I enjoyed the topic. Enjoy your work week. Stay safe, stay level, stay dangerous. Check in with your family. Keep the 2020 goals going strong and everything you can do moving on. Until next time, it's your boy. Checking out. Peace.